Goff takes a snap, drops straight back, pressure, pocket collapses, ball's loose, and the loose ball is recovered by the Saints.
Our front office is like a high school, you know.
Someone from upper management called me and said that I make the players feel uncomfortable about some of the stuff I've said on the radio and about they don't want me on the sidelines.
You can't be critical and then come back and, and ask for this and ask for that.
I told them on the phone I would never attend another game of Ram function as long as you head coach, and I stand by that.
Goff 3 steps, looks to the ring, it's intercepted. Deion Jones keeps his feet, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown for Debo.
Some breaking news out of Los Angeles. The Rams have officially parted ways with head coach Jeff Fisher.
This is solely a performance-related issue.
Well, this is an understatement. It's been a rough year for the Rams in their return to Los Angeles. They've lost 9 of their last 10 games and fired head coach Jeff Fisher. Here to talk all about it is a future Hall of Famer here, and Eric Dickerson. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you very much. Not future, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Excuse me.
That's okay.
You're there. Present, isn't it?
Present Hall of Famer. What threw me off there? I had future of football that I wanted to ask you about in LA. So I want to focus on that. So after losing to the Seahawks, Tavon Austin talked about how difficult it is to play in LA. We know how difficult it is to play in the NFL, period, but the city of Los Angeles, the hype, the hoopla, the expectations.
Well, when the Rams came to LA, I kept telling everyone that this team has to win here. This is a city that's all about winners. It's glitz, it's glamour, it's Hollywood. You can't come here going 4-12, 6-10. That's not going to work in LA. I mean, that may work someplace else. And I kept saying it over and over, they've got to win. Or if they don't win, they have to have an exciting product. And they've really done neither one.
Well, first of all, I'd like to take a moment to applaud you because I think you deserve to be applauded. The reason why is because that phone call that you got from Jeff Fisher one day clearly upset him, and all you were doing was telling the truth and bringing attention that desperately needed to have attention brought to it, which was the Los Angeles Rams stink because their record stinks because their head coach just wasn't very damn good anymore and he had too much of an opportunity. I want you to take us back to that phone call that you received from Jeff Fisher and what that was like for you.
Well, first of all, I was invited out to the groundbreaking ceremony. That's when I come out. I said, sure, I'll come out. And I'd heard the grumbling already. So when I got there, I could tell it was kind of a little tension between some of the Rams staff and myself, but no big deal. Mm-hmm. So after I got ready to leave, I asked the guy, I said, hey, what about those passes I asked you for my friend? But now keep in mind, I didn't really need them. I just wanted to see, was it true?
Right.
You know? So they said, well, Eric, I'm not sure. We have the media department, they said some of the stuff you said about the team. I said, huh? I said, well, am I lying? Well, no, you're not lying, but I said, well, he said, I tell you what, someone's gonna call you. Jeff Fisher or Les Steve will call you. I said, okay. I said, I welcome the call, no problem. So I left, I got home, I'm talking to my best friend, Charles Drayton, on the phone. And he said, Dick, you lying, they gonna call you? I said, you're supposed to call me. And I'm talking to him for about 20 minutes, all of a sudden I see a 314 area code. I said, Drayton, let me call you back. He said, man, I wish I was on this call. Yeah. So I answered, so I said, hello? Hey, Eric, this is Jeff Fisher. I said, how you doing, Jeff? He said, I'm good. He said, look, I'm gonna get right at this. He says, I don't really have time for this, but I'm just gonna say this, you're not gonna be talking about my football team, my coaches, and then expecting things from the team. As long as I'm head coach, we're not doing anything for you, we're not supporting anything you do, and I'm just letting you know that right now. As long as I'm head coach, that's not gonna happen. You make my team uncomfortable, you make the players uncomfortable, and you make the coaches uncomfortable when you come on the sideline. So that's just not gonna happen. So I just wanna let you know, and blah, blah, blah. He goes on. I didn't say one word, I just listened. So when he finished, I said, okay. And I think he thought he was gonna hang up.
Yeah.
I said, okay, Jeff. He said, okay, thanks. I said, no. I said, it's my turn. He said, okay. I said, Jeff, let me explain something to you. First of all, I'm a grown-ass man. I said, I don't need nothing from the Rams. I said, you think I've been sitting around there waiting for the Rams to come back? I said, no, I have not been. I said, if I want something, I'll pay for it. I said, if y'all think I owe you something, send me a bill. I'll gladly pay for it. I said, Jeff, I said that my thing is that I want my football team to win. I said, you could get fired, Les Snead could leave, Kevin Demoff could leave, but I'll still be Eric Dickerson of the Los Angeles Rams. I say, I want my football team to win. I support the players. I'm a player first, always. Then all of a sudden it changes. Well, Eric, we want you to come over, man. That's not what we want, blah, blah, blah. We had Britney Spears come over last week, and I'm like, man, I don't care nothing about no Britney. Not no offense against Britney Spears, but I'm talking about
She's
football.
She's not in the Hall of Fame playing for the Rams.
Isn't it true, before I let you go back, isn't it true that Jeff Fisher initially denied that he had spoken to you?
You know what? I don't know, because I didn't. One thing is, this had happened about 2 weeks prior. I didn't say anything at first. I didn't say anything about it. So, on my show on 570, they kept teasing me about, man, you're on the Rams hit list. You're the new number one enemy of the Rams. And I just laughed. And so they said it again the following week. And I said, man, I'm going to say this. I said, I got a call from someone in upper management. And they were like, huh? I said, yeah. And I said, well, I kind of said what they told me. They were shocked. And so I never said it was Jeff Fisher. And I'll say this much here. If Jeff Fisher said he never made the call, I'd have said he never made the call. I mean, that's just how I felt. I wanted to keep this really in-house, but I just got sick of hearing how I'm bad-mouthing my football team. I'm just telling the truth, what everyone else saw. I said it from week 2. I said the offense looks like a high school offense. I said the defense is doing all the work. And if I'm a defensive squad, I'm like, look, man, golly, help us out a little bit. Do something different. And that was it.
To paraphrase Wally Shawn from The Princess Bride,
I like
two
that.
major mistakes made throughout history. One, never get involved in a land war in Asia. And second, and only slightly behind that, is if the Los Angeles Rams are returning to LA for the first time in almost a half century, and your teams have stunk on ice for years, and you're the head coach of the Rams, maybe don't pick a fight with the greatest player in the history of the franchise. That's insanity. Particularly when, and Eric, you could talk to this, I just spent 5.5 years in LA. Let me tell you the difference between the New York market and the LA market when it comes to sports. And this goes to the difference between LA and even Philly or Boston or a place like that, the cold weather, kind of bitter, northeast cities that really are crazy about sports. If you stink in New York, they'll still pay attention to you. They'll just be cursing you out all day. There is pressure in New York City to win now. In LA, I wouldn't say it's pressure. I would say you have to deal with distractions. And if you don't handle those distractions, they're not going to kill you. They will forget about you.
Right.
They forgot about you. They'll go outside. The weather's nice. Anyway, I guess it's not a question. It's more of a statement. But I think I'm more outraged about what happened to you than you are.
Look, my thing is, and I said this to Jeff Fisher, I just want my team to win. I mean, I think the Los Angeles Rams fans deserve better. I mean, they came from St. Louis. The St. Louis fans deserve better. And to come to L.A. and put this kind of product on the field, it's not fair to the fans. I mean, I saw Coach Pete Carroll. It was, 4 weeks ago. He was leaving the field with his players. They made a big stand on the goal line. And he was like a kid, like excited. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I said, that's the kind of coach we need. We need something like that. I said, that's what we're missing. As a player, that's what you want.
With that being said, who would you like to see as the next head coach for the Los Angeles Rams?
Man, it's a wide variety of guys. I mean, Jim Harbaugh would be a choice, but like I said, I'm not writing that check. That's Stan Kroenke. John Gruden would be a choice for sure. I think he could come in. I like guys who have been head coaches before, but say there's not one that's not been a head coach. I mean, I think Kyle Shanahan would be a possibility. I mean, he's an offensive coordinator. It's a lot of guys out there, but you got to have a coach that fits that team, the personality, the organization. I mean, and I guess I'll say it starts at the top. I mean, the top has to be cleaned up before you can get a coach. I mean, that has to be.
Now, Les Snead, too? I mean, he's the one who, look at these draft picks that aren't hit.
Look at our draft picks. I mean, it's almost like this. It's almost like, okay, the bullseye's over here, and they're drafting over here. Like, I'm like, who's picking these guys? I mean.
And how much of that is development? Like, Mark Schlereth talks about that. People confuse drafting with development, not always the same thing. How much of that is missing in the draft? That's Snead. How much of that is lack of development, which would be under Fisher?
Well, it's a lot of it. I think, he's a defensive-minded coach. And our defense is good. I mean, but the defense is not going to last forever. They can't keep going at this rate. You have to have some offense, and that's what we're missing. We're missing on so many offensive players. They'll draft a guy in the 4th round and get it right. We'll draft a guy in the 1st round, 2 of them, and get it way wrong. Like, how are these guys playing? And I think that's where the disconnect is.
The bright side is you can only go up from here. But speaking of offense, you are the only first year to account for 1,800 rushing yards in your first NFL season. Ezekiel Elliott, he's on pace potentially to do something like that. We asked Twitter, should he win MVP? 51% said no. Your thoughts?
As I look at the MVP race, and I think I know you're not a Cowboy fan, neither am I.
That's right.
I'm a Steelers fan, like you.
There we go.
Growing up
Smart man.
Yeah.
Smart man.
But I'll say this much here. When I look at that football team, I've been saying it for a while, co-MVP, Zeke and Dak, they go great together. I mean, I think one couldn't exist without the other. I mean, and I believe that. So for me, I'd have to go Cole. I can't give it to Zeke, and I can't give it to Dak solely.
I ain't mad at you. I'm just hoping that Jerry Jones messes it all up. I put Romo up in there. That'll make my day. I see it coming.
Eric, thank you so much for traveling all the way to be here with us, to have a Hall of Famer here in the house. We appreciate you and your honesty.
Man.
And don't think you're going to get anything from First Take.
Not even
Can I get something? Can I get a mug?
I just try to make decisions in the best interest of the team. Any decision that we make here is always made in the best interest of the team. And at that point in time, I just felt like that was the best decision at that point in time for the team. And we don't make decisions on, how much a guy gets paid. We make decisions on what's the best way to win a game. I thought both guys, Brock and Tom, handled it like the professionals that they are. Very professional, the way they handled it. And we'll see what happens next week.
Stephen A., let's go there, because that's what we do here on First Take.
Yep.
Is Osweiler done in Houston?
I believe he is. And let me explain why. He just got there. It's just one season. It's a $72 million contract. It's $37 million guaranteed. I understand, that. And I'll tell you a real quick story, y'all. When I had, quite frankly, on ESPN 2 years ago, I had a guest on my show with me for an hour. His name was our president-elect, Donald Trump. And he threw out this story. He said, when you go to a bank and you borrow $3 million and you can't pay it back, you got a problem. But when you go to a bank and you borrow $300 million and you can't pay it back, we got a problem. He said the moral of the story is the more you convince somebody to invest in you, the more they must ensure your success. I never forgot that. And I think about that when I think about Brock Osweiler, because I'm thinking about the fact that you've invested all of this money in him. So the belief is, okay, we got to support him. Here's the problem. Your fan base doesn't. And when you are a quarterback, it's one thing when you get drafted and you get booed because people don't know no damn better, okay? And then you get to go up in there and perform. That's one thing. People are being presumptuous. But when you go out there and you actually do perform and they see your performance and they're booing you, ooh, that's bad. Because you have no credibility, no resume, no cachet to fall back on. So from that point forward, it's an uphill climb. And I don't believe Brock Osweiler has the makeup to overcome that in Houston, which is why I took the position that I take. I think he's done in Houston.
He's done because he's not good. He never was good.
I'm just saying.
Those Pac-12 quarterbacks, remember that little era where it was like Andrew Luck, and then there was Matt Barkley, and there was Osweiler, and there was Foles. Congratulations to them, because not Barkley, but Foles and Osweiler actually had a little run in the NFL. That's not easy. But
Barkley kind of is.
Barkley's doing a good job in Chicago.
The point is they stuck more or less in the NFL, and some of them started, and Nick Foles had a good year under a certain system and everything. So that's not nothing. That's something that's better than most. But they're just not that good. Andrew Luck was a stud, and the rest of them just not that good. And Osweiler is tall. That's true. He was tall in college. That we can all see that. He just has never been that good. It was a mistake to give him the contract. And Tom Savage, by the way, Bill O'Brien is, to me, the hero of the story. Because in a league where you see head coaches consistently make cowardly decisions based on the fear of being second-guessed and the way the orthodoxy says they should do things, it's by the book, not going for it on fourth down, etc. This was a gutsy call for him to say, you sit down with all that money they owe him, and bring in a guy off the bench who leads a comeback win. To me, that's the big story. But he's.
And know the coaching tree comes from Bill Belichick. That's
right. But in terms of the Osweiler question, he's done because he's not that good.
Okay, let's really break this whole thing down. And I think that he's not done. Now, does he have the mental makeup? No, I don't believe he does, because he doesn't understand about having success. Now, when you understand about having success, you understand how to prepare for success. For a guy who struggled in Denver, went over to Houston, struggled from the beginning of the season, didn't even find his number one wide receiver since the time he's been in there. And all of a sudden, Savage comes in, and they target Hopkins so many times with Savage in there. It says a lot about this young man and his mental makeup. But let's go back to Bill O'Brien. Besides Tom Brady, what quarterbacks has he ever groomed to get ready and be an elite type of quarterback?
Hasn't happened.
There you go. That's something no one talks about. This offense, how many other quarterbacks have been very successful in this offense? Take Tom Brady out.
Tom Savage.
What, in a half? And remember, he was a
He's got a
draft
great
pick.
last name.
He was a draft pick by Bill O'Brien.
Right.
Now, why is it
fourth rounder?
Well, right, but I'm saying from Pittsburgh, a lot of people talked about his upside. Yeah. But why hasn't he played leading up until this point? Because he's not ready. So why are you now all of a sudden going to throw him in there when you, at this particular point, still have a chance of making the playoffs to throw a young man in there that you know is not ready to play?
Are you saying
a
it's
full
a
game?
prerequisite to be a coach in the NFL or a successful coach? Are you saying it's the most important thing, or it's just something that you have to have as a prerequisite to develop a quarterback? In other words, if you can't do that, you're DQ?
If you're an offensive-minded coach, and you started being a quarterback coach, then an offensive coordinator, you should have on your resume that you've groomed a quarterback, and we can look back and say, well, you know what? That's a guy that was coached by Bill O'Brien. We can say the same thing about Josh McDaniels. Has Josh McDaniels been responsible for Tom Brady's success? And what other quarterback has been successful in his offense? Kyle Orton, Tim Tebow? No. See, this is the things
you're not sold on Bill
I'm
O'Brien.
not sold on Bill O'Brien and this offense either. This is not an offense that's best suited for the talent that you have. Now, we talked about Pac-12 quarterbacks that haven't been successful. So what type of quarterback is Brock Osweiler? He's not a quarterback. But he's Ryan Mallett. He's Ryan Mallett to me.
But here's the problem.
Oof.
This is what they say about Brock Osweiler now. Season-long tendencies of being indecisive, holding the football too long, frequently overthrowing receivers, and forcing ill-advised passes. This is their critique of Brock Osweiler. Yeah. Look at what I just said. Those 4 things that I just said. That don't sound like no damn quarterback to me.
Well, it don't sound like a quarterback
passes, holding on the football too long.
Well, of course they're going to say that because at this particular point, we've seen that.
All right, then.
So they're trying to cover themselves. So what are we going to hear about Tom Savage if he decides to start from 5 or 6 or 7 games? No experience, strong arm,
Donovan McNabb.
inaccurate.
Donovan McNabb, give it to me straight. Are they wrong when they say Brock Osweiler looks indecisive? He's holding on to the football too long?
No.
He's overthrowing passes? That don't sound like a damn quarterback is what I'm trying to say.
We can also say that about Brian Hoyer. We can also say that about Ryan Mallett. We can say that everybody that's been in that offense. But these are guys that have been in that offense.
Are you saying that in another offense, Osweiler's a good NFL quarterback?
If the offensive coach catered the offense around his ability, you just paid him that money.
What is his ability?
His ability has a strong arm, get the ball downfield. Nothing to do with intermediate.
That sounds like Jamarcus Russell. He had a strong arm with the ability to get the ball down the field.
Were they both high draft picks?
Excuse me, and he was, listen.
That means the scouting department is not that good.
Mr. Jabba the Hutt himself, who should have been arrested for stealing money.
Why you got to talk about his size?
Look, he was eating burgers. That's why. Instead of being in the field, we're practicing. That's why.
I have one question, yes or no, because we have to go to break. You talked about his mental makeup, that he doesn't have the right mental makeup. Can that be coached, or is that innate as a quarterback
That's
to be
something
successful?
you're born with. That's just something you're born with. But I think he starts next week.
All right. Donovan, so good to see you. And now I don't have to say until next week. We're going to see you on Friday.
See you on Friday.
Every Monday and Friday.
On national television and defended Brock Osweiler.
He's going to start next week.
All right.
Could Andy Reid do something with Brock Osweiler?
Yes, he could. Did it with Nick Foles.
Coming